Good morning, students. Welcome to your science class. In previous session, we have studied about internal and external fertilization in detail. IVF mean in vitro fertilization, development of embryo, and we have also studied viviparous and oviparous animals. I hope you enjoyed last video and you watched it nicely. In the third session of chapter 9 reproduction in animals, we will study about asexual reproduction and different types of asexual reproduction. We will study different type of asexual reproduction like budding, fission, cloning, fragmentation, and at last we will discuss advantage and disadvantage of asexual reproduction. As we have discussed in earlier sessions, all organisms need to reproduce to keep their species alive. Reproduction is essential for the continuation of species. It ensures the continuation of similar kinds of individuals generation after generation. Unlike sexual reproduction, which requires genetic material from two parent organisms in order to create an offspring, asexual reproduction occurs when a single organism reproduces without the genetic input of another. In other words, asexual reproduction happens with only one parent. It results in offspring that are exactly like the parent. So, exact definition of the asexual reproduction is the type of reproduction in which single parent is required is known as asexual reproduction. This type of reproduction occurs in prokaryotic microorganisms like bacteria and in some eukaryotic single-celled organisms like amoeba and multi-celled organisms also. Now we will discuss characteristics of asexual reproduction. Following are the important features of asexual reproduction. First, single parent involved. Second, no fertilization or gamete formation takes place. Third, the process of reproduction occurs in a very short time. Fourth, the organisms multiply and grow rapidly. Rapidly means very fast. Fifth and last one is the offspring is genetically similar to the parent. Students, now we will study types of asexual reproduction. There are different types of asexual reproduction like budding, fission, fragmentation, cloning. Students, now we will start with budding. This reproduction method is seen in those multicellular animals which are highly simple in structure. A small bud or a bulge develops on the body. After developing, the bud gets detached from parent's body to begin new life as a new organism. Example of asexual reproduction by budding is seen in hydra and yeast. You can see budding in hydra and yeast in this diagram. Students, now we will study fission. The term fission means to divide. It is one of the simplest and uncomplicated methods of asexual reproduction. Fission has mainly two types. First one is binary fission and other one is multiple fission. Students, now we will study binary fission. Binary fission is made up of two terms, binary and fission. As you have studied in Standard 7 in computer regarding binary language, means the language which has only two input, 0 and 1, is known as binary language. Same way, a type of asexual reproduction in which an animal reproduces by dividing into two individuals is called binary fission. When the parent cell divides into two, each daughter cell carrying a nucleus of its own that is genetically identical to the parent. Now we will study binary fission through the example of amoeba. Amoeba is a single-celled organism. It begins the process of reproduction by the division of its nucleus into two nuclei. This is followed by division of its body into two, each part receiving a nucleus. Finally, two amoeba are produced from one parent amoeba. This type of division you can see in the diagram. So we can say that a type of asexual reproduction in which an animal reproduces by dividing into two individuals is called binary fission. Students, now we will study another type of fission, which is multiple fission. It is the process of asexual reproduction in which instead of two daughter cells, many daughter cells are produced from the parent cell. In this, the nucleus undergoes repeated division to produce a large number of nuclei. All the daughter cells are similar and identical in dimension. The organism responsible for the multiple fission is Plasmodium. This type of multiple fission in Plasmodium you can see in the diagram. Students, now we will study cloning. Cloning is the production of an exact copy of an animal by means of asexual reproduction. Any two animals which contain exactly the same genes are called genetically identical. An animal which is genetically identical to its parent is called clone. Cloning process of an animal was successfully performed for the first time by Ian Wilmot and his colleagues at the Roslin Institute in Edinburgh, Scotland. They cloned successfully a sheep named Dolly. During the process of cloning Dolly, a cell was collected from the mammary gland of a female fin dorsate sheep. Simultaneously, an egg was obtained from a Scottish blackface ewe. The nucleus was removed from the egg. Then, the nucleus of the mammary gland cell from the fin dorsate sheep was inserted into the egg of the Scottish blackface ewe, whose nucleus had been removed. The egg thus produced was implanted into the Scottish blackface ewe. Development of this egg followed normally and finally Dolly was born. Though Dolly was given birth by the Scottish blackface ewe, it was found to be absolutely identical to the fin dorsate sheep, from which the nucleus was taken. Since the nucleus from the egg of the Scottish blackface ewe was removed, Dolly did not show any character of the Scottish blackface ewe. Dolly was a healthy clone of the fin dorsate sheep and produced several offspring of her own through normal sexual reproduction. Unfortunately, Dolly died on 14 February 2003 due to a certain lung disease. Students, now we will study fragmentation. It is also one of the mode of asexual reproduction. Multicellular organisms simply breaks up into smaller pieces upon maturation. These pieces or fragments grow into new individuals. Example of asexual reproduction by fragmentation is seen in planaria and spirogyra. You can see these both organisms in diagram. You can see that planaria divide into three parts. From that three part, three new planaria will grow. Students, now we will discuss advantages of asexual reproduction. Following are the advantages of asexual reproduction. First, the process of reproduction is rapid, means it is very fast reaction. Second, an enormous number of organisms can be produced in very less time. It means that in asexual reproduction, very large number of babies will be born in short time. Third, it occurs in various environments. Students, now we will discuss disadvantages of asexual reproduction. The greatest disadvantage of asexual reproduction is the loss of genetic diversity. Since asexual reproduction does not involve the exchange of genetic material, all of the plants are clones. They are unable to adapt to the changes in environment. Students, the topics which we have covered in today's session are very much important. Students, I hope you enjoyed today's session. Please go through all the videos, solve worksheet, textual question answer and supplementary question answer. Till then, take care. Bye bye.